listening or watching to Following On, the podcast that's available via the Following On podcast feed every week and also on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel. I'm John Norman, and for the next 20 minutes or so, alongside Machel St Patrick Hewitt and also Steve Harmison, as we look back on a 4-wicket win for the West Indies over England, which has sealed a 3-2 series win in this 5-match T20 series. England bowled out inside 20 overs for 132, and the West Indies were made to fight for every single run along the way. They lost wickets. England was still in it. A brilliant 19th over from Sam Curran meant that the Windies went into that final over with still a little bit of work to do, but Shai Hope put it to bed with a beautifully hit, laced 6 over extra cover to spark some scenes, I tell you. We're going to look back at the match, we're going to look ahead to the World T20, we're going to try and work out some squads. You're listening to talkSPORT 2, and this is Following On. Well, Machel, you said West Indies would win the series, and West Indies did win the series.
Indeed, I did, and not one to... No, I won't blow. But no, do you know what? What I will say is, after the 4th T20 on Tuesday, we had a discussion on Following On, and I remember it well, where we said, what happens if West Indies win, right? And they win the final game? How, in sport, we're so big on narrative. And how will the narrative change now that England didn't come back and win the series? And similarly in the Caribbean, how will the narrative change now that West Indies have won the series? So I believe that some people will be very quick on the West Indian side. Some people will be very quick to say this is even more evidence of the Darren Sammy revolution. They beat India 3-2 in the summer. They beat South Africa away earlier on this year, and now they've beaten England 3-2 at home as well. And some will be quick to rush and say West Indies have to be considered one of the dark horses or favourites for the World Cup. I'm not going to go down that line, right? Similarly with England, and obviously Harmy will get into it, will there now be an eagerness for some to go down a narrative of this is further evidence that England aren't where they should be, and so on and so forth, almost not focusing on the fact that in the 3rd and the 4th game England played really well. Do you see what I mean? So I'm reluctant to kind of come with a great big statement as to what does this show, but what fundamentally it should show the West Indians, and what I will focus on, is that they have shown now 3 series in a row that they can compete against teams that are deemed to be better than them.
I mean, they've beaten England, they beat India, correct, and South Africa.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 3 pretty good teams.
Yeah, I get that, and then you go, wow, is the West Indies on the up and up? But then you see the sign of the times, because in between the 4th game and the 5th game, the pick a test squad with 7 debutants going to Australia. So you just worry where the West Indies cricket's going to be at. So I don't know about you, John, or Marsh, that June's a hell of a long way away in West Indies cricket.
100%.
You're right, though. I mean, I don't think that either of these two sides come away from this series with many people saying absolutely, undeniably, ultimate truth time, they're going to win the T20 World Cup. But I think what we can walk away from this saying is that both sides possess players that can win a match. Both players, you'd say, have got 6 or 7 absolutely nailed on starters. Maybe a couple more for West Indies, actually. But of course, you also have to remember, this is as close to the strongest T20 side West Indies are going to be able to put out in the park, and England have got a few to come in.
Yeah, I think when you look at it from an England point of view, in the cold light of day, when you analyse what's happened, you go, they've got off to good starts, so we've been looking for that opening batter to replace Jason Roy or Alex Hales. I mean, if you look at the games, the T20 World Cup, victory in Australia, I think we've nailed down that spot in Phil Salt. I think he's done enough to say, right, that's mine. We've been poor at the death, really poor at the death, and we've been poor leading into the death of taking wickets with Adil Rashid apart. I think Rian Ahmed is showing every time he puts on an England shirt, he's getting better and better, and he's getting more experience, which is great for a 19-year-old. And I think the death side of it, and the number 4 spot, number 3, number 4 spot, I think, which is a key pivotal role, are players that have to come back. So the death spot, I would imagine, if Jofra Archer's bowling and playing for his school side in Barbados now, the likelihood is he's going to be fit for the World T20. So if he's going to be fit for the World T20, Mark Wood's going to be fit for the World T20. And Ben Stokes comes back into that number 4 spot. All of a sudden, with Phil Salt at the top, who's probably ticked the box and got his inked into that number 1 spot, you're now looking at the areas that England have got questions over the last probably 3 weeks, which is bowling at the death, and maybe it's that man for all, that Shai Hope man for all situations in the middle. Then England haven't got to worry about that because they've got Ben Stokes to come back, and they've got Johnny Bairstow, and they've also got Mark Wood and Jofra Archer. Fingers crossed from an Archer point of view. So I don't think all's lost in this series. I think there's been a lot of positive stuff being played from both sides, and when you look at it, I think some of our key players have been put under pressure in under pressure situations. Some of them cracked, some of them have performed, and I think put that all into the melting pot. I think England now are 99% certain, without them Pakistan 3 games coming up in the summer, T20. I think Matthew Mott and Jos Butler can go to the Caribbean and to America knowing now what their 15 is.
Well, let's try and name the 15 then. I think we've both agreed that Butler and Salt are opening.
Yeah.
I think we feel that Bairstow will be at 3.
Yeah, before we go on, I think England have gone from looking at the players in the list to actually how are we gonna hit the World Cup, and I think that's power at the top. So 1, 2, and 3 will be the power play players, where they go ultra aggressive in the power play. They've got 2, for me, they'll have 2 players in the middle order for all situations, like what Shai Hope's done. The 6 hitting all-rounders in the middle, which served them well during the last T20 World Cup victory. And I think this is the most important thing, and this is where they've been lacked in this series. I think they need a new ball bowler who can take wickets, and one of them new bowlers has to bowl at the death, and I think that's where Archer comes into it. So I think that will be the game plan, the template that Butler and Mott and Key and Luke Wright and the management team look to try and fill the 15 players with. I think that will be the game plan.
I should say, by the way, that Moti was named player of the match today. Phil Salt was named player of the series. We are going to be looking back, and Sam Ellard, Cameron Ponsonby are going to be releasing a podcast tomorrow as well. That'll be available via the following on podcast feed. We will talk about this game as well, but we're just trying to put together our squad. So Livingston at 4. Does he retain that place at 4?
No, not for me. Stokes at 4. I'm going Salt, inked in. Butler, inked in.
Yep.
Bairstow, inked in at 3.
Agreed.
Stokes at 4.
Right.
Brook at 5.
Okay, so they're going to change things around then?
Yeah, but I don't think they're changing things around. I just think they've tried somebody because that one key component is not there, which is Ben Stokes. Okay. And Livingston, for me, would be at 6. Okay.
Well, I think we're agreed there. Does Ali play?
Yeah, I was about to ask that. Yeah.
For me, I'm looking at it's that Ali Curran role. But depending on surfaces, depending on areas, I think one or the other. I'm trying to work out how I can get them both in my side, and if anything, you're basically saying it's Ali, Livingston, and Curran for 2 spots in my team, with Archer, Rashid, Wood, and Topley. I think Reece Topley has to play.
Let's break away from this. Let's head out to the middle. Sam Ellers with Reece Topley.
Like I said in the ODI series, all I need to do for my team is win games, man. And today was a different situation. Obviously, I didn't need to score at a certain rate. But the key was to stay at the end. As long as I stay at the end, I'm sure we're going to win the game.
And was that your mentality throughout? I've got to just bat through here, and if I do that, we win.
Yeah, we know that we got very good strikers in the team. We needed someone to really play as deep as possible, and that was my role today. From the halfway stage, the guys told me to just bat all the way to the end. As long as I do that, we're going to win the game.
We've seen England in the last couple of games bat incredibly well. To restrict them to 133, how much credit do you have to give to the bowlers? And was it hard to bat out there early on? Did it look like a hard wicket to get going on?
It definitely wasn't the same wicket as last game, I can tell you that for sure. It was a bit up and down, a bit too pace, and some of the balls are keeping a bit low. But I must commend the bowlers for the effort that they put in. Having to bounce back after those last 2 games, we really took a beating the last 2 games. So to see the guys come back and play the way they did, I must commend them for sure.
What were the conversations over the past couple of days after a couple of defeats? What did Rodman say to the team?
We had a pretty long meeting and we discussed some specific plans, especially to Salty. We said we couldn't let them get off in the power play. That was the main focus today, to try to restrict the power play, control the power play. And we saw that the trend was, as long as we control the power play, then we found ourselves in good stead going on for the rest of the game, and we usually come up victorious at the end of that.
You've beaten England, who are the T20 World Champions. There's a T20 World Cup here in 6 months' time. A little smile on your face there. I bet you already can't wait for that. And as we know, West Indies in World Cups, you guys know how you either don't qualify or you win it, really, don't you? That's what you guys do, right?
Hey, that's cheeky. But yeah, you're right, man. Anytime a World Cup is here, we're always up for the challenge, you know. It's good to see we're here. We're playing in front of our home crowd this time around. And with the way we're playing our cricket, just a few things we need to work on and shape up on. But I can see us picking at the right time, and we're going to have a great tournament coming up in a few months.
It feels like everyone in the Caribbean, though, is well and truly behind this team. Do you get that impression that, you know, people are sitting up and going, oh, hang on a minute, Russell's back, the big boys are here? Do you get that impression when you're out and about the streets?
Most definitely. I'm feeling a different vibe, man. The West Indian people, they always come out and support, but I can feel a different buzz now. It seems as though they're really, really out behind us. You can feel that. You can feel as though there's a 12th man out there. And as long as we keep that same energy coming through, we're going to give them some more performances, and then we're going to win something, hopefully, in the next 6 months.
You made a great impression on the English media, by the way, and England fans. We say very good player, very good man, and also very good looking as well.
I don't know about the last one, but thanks, man. Thanks, buddy.
And also as well, this year's over now, but you've got some exciting things personally coming up as well, don't you? Obviously, you're going to go to the IPL, we've got the World Cup, and then the big one, Yorkshire for a couple of weeks, right?
Well, I'm not sure about that last one, but yeah, any opportunity that I get now, I'm very thankful. For the last few months, I've been playing well, and it's nice to see that the teams are actually looking at my progress. Happy to thank my supporters so far, people that really pushed me to the point where I am. And just want to keep growing, man. Keep growing.
Final question. I know you got a lot of people to go and see. Sum up the last couple of weeks. What does this mean to you and the West Indies?
It's a great step in the right direction. Something that we've been talking about a lot, but it's hard to speak, but you want to make the actions speak louder than those same words that we're speaking about. I'm just happy to see the guys growing, man. Really and truly. You can see the fight, you can see the determination, the effort, the focus that we have. The planning is great, the prep is great. We just need to continue executing more and more consistently, and we're going to be a strong team.
That was Shai Hope speaking with the cheeky Sam Ellard, and he says that all the journalists are talking about how good looking he is, but actually it wasn't. It was just Sam and Cameron Ponsonby on a podcast about a week ago, basically debating who was the best looking cricketer in both England and the West Indies. I mean, it's well, I think you're not sure your mic was on there, but no, Sam Ellard wouldn't feature in the list of best-looking journalists. It might just be too loud in my cans. I think your microphone was on. So where were we with the squad? We got to about the Moeen Ali, Sam Curran conundrum. Rashid's in, of course. I mean, the fast bowling, if Wood and Archer are back, actually looks pretty rude, doesn't it? You've got. Yeah. Because Topley is picking up wickets and he's looking dangerous, and he's got left arm, and he's about 10'10". You know, he is a quality individual. He did it again today. Sam Curran at the death. That's where we're going to bowl him. I mean, do you bowl him there when Archer and Topley are in there? Well, you have the option to.
Yeah, for me, I'd have Archer, Wood and Topley as my three seamers. I'm picking Sam Curran to bowl 2 death overs and batting at number 7. Then he's fighting with Moeen Ali for a spot. Is Moeen Ali fighting with Liam Livingstone for a spot? I think Liam Livingstone probably inks in at number 6. But when you look at the rest of it, I think Archer bowls that brilliant 2 at the start, 2 at the end, very, very well. Topley 3 at the start. You can get 1 out of him in the middle if you need to, and you have somebody like Mark Wood to come on just as the power play finishes. And then you have a Wood. I would have a Wood and Rashid combination leading into them death overs of sort of 13, 14, 15, 16 of Rashid and Wood, where you're having players trying to take liberties with 92, 93 mile an hour, and one of the best leg spinners in world cricket at this moment in time. So when you look at it like that, it's all easy on paper. The big conundrum is, can you keep Wood fit? more importantly, can you keep Archer fit? And I think another one, even more importantly, can you keep Topley fit to get them to June? Mention about how long away June is for the West Indies, but for them three cricketers especially, that's a long time away.
Okay, Matt, what about you in terms of the squad and the team? West Indies as close as they can possibly be right now?
I think West Indies still have some issues that they need to resolve. Namely, their opening pair it's not firing like they'd want it to fire. Across this series, I mean, King had an 82, but Carl Mayers hasn't fired. Is Johnson Charles the person to replace Carl Mayers? There's question marks there. I think the middle order from Pooran at 3, so what is it? Pooran, Hope, Powell, Rutherford. That's probably a lock at this stage. Shimron Hetmeyer is going to have to do something extraordinary to work his way back into this side. He may be in the squad, but he's certainly not in the side. Romario Shepherd is in this team when he comes back. But where West Indies, where their biggest question marks come, whereas with England, provided people are fit, you can go right. Jofra Archer, everyone wants Jofra Archer. Mark Wood, Topley, and there's players to come back that make a difference. I'm worried about West Indies bowling. I think a lot hinges on, maybe even too much, hinges on Gudakesh Motie and Akil Hussain to control games. And then the other problem West Indies have got is it's a bit samey, right? So you've got Andre Russell, right arm, medium. I know he can be a bit quicker, but medium fast. Jason Holder, right arm, medium fast. Romario Shepherd, right arm, medium fast.
Alzari Joseph.
Alzari Joseph and O'Shane Thomas. West Indies need to make a decision that is it better to go in with 2 out-and-out quicks and then your cadre of medium-fast players. So they will have to make a difficult decision. Really and truly, Jason Holder, Andre Russell and Romario Shepherd, it should be 3 people fighting for 2 positions. They can't all or shouldn't all be playing in the same team. And then lastly, which I'll just end with, England have a left-arm seamer in Reece Topley. I think this West Indies attack needs a left-arm seamer. You have to have variety. And I think if you come under pressure like England put them under pressure in the 3rd and the 4th T20, if you've got the same thing coming at you, it's very easy for a game to get out of control in that situation.
What's Sheldon Cottrell up to?
It's going to be Sheldon Cottrell or Obed McCoy, I would imagine, but neither one is in the best form. But as Harmy says, there's 7 months to go, so there's still a long time for things to get better or unravel.
It'll be unravelling, won't it? But the West Indies do get up for the big events. I mean, when they play. Sam actually had it right, didn't he?
Yeah, and to be fair, Darren Sammy has to take a lot of credit. When Darren Sammy got I don't know if the listeners know this, but when Darren Sammy got the head coach's job, it wasn't met with unanimous agreement in the Caribbean, unsurprisingly.
Yeah, I was going to say, is anything ever met unanimously?
Some people in some quarters in the media, they felt he did not have the requisite coaching credentials to be taken on a job as big as the West Indies. But if there's something that Darren Sammy does have the credentials in, it's taking a disparate collection of players from all around the region who all have their different cultural sensibilities, as we saw in 2012 and then in 2016 in the T20 World Cup. He's a good manager, and I think that's the biggest impact he's had on this West Indies team.
Let's head back to the ground. Sam Ellard with the England skipper Jos Butler.
I thought it was a great effort with the ball. Obviously, the wicket was different to the one the other day. Obviously, 260 and then only scoring 130 today. I thought, if we could have put 160 on the board, would have really challenged the West Indies. But I thought with the ball, it was a great effort to take it as far as we did and stay in the game for as long as we could.
Why do you think it was quite tricky out there early on for the batsmen? How did you find it early on?
I think just a bit slower than the other day. Obviously, a used wicket. I think it plays a little bit differently in the daytime as well to under the lights. But just a used wicket. But sometimes that's what you're presented with, and you've got to find ways to adapt. And we have to ask ourselves as a team, could we have found a way to score that extra 25 or 30 runs, which would have, I think, been a good score.
There's a World Cup here in 6 months' time, so I guess 5 valuable matches for yourself and Matt Mott. What do you learn about your team?
Yeah, I think learned lots. Obviously, Phil Salt's had an outstanding series at the top of the order. I think the intent that he plays with is all that we want to be as a team, and obviously the results he's had doing that. To score back-to-back hundreds and be as consistent as he has been brilliant. It's been great to have a look at Rash and Rayan bowling in the same lineup, those kind of things, and I think just gaining valuable time out here. And obviously we wanted to win the series, and it's important that we make sure we take the learnings and get better as a team.
We know it's been a long year. We know it's been a tricky couple of months. Maybe this is more of a football phrase than a cricket phrase, Jos, but sometimes players can down tools and sort of almost, throw in the towel, if you like. But at 2-0 down, though, how proud are you of this group of lads after a long year to fight, not just execute their skills well, but to fight for the badge? How much does that mean for you as captain, the fight these lads have showed?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a given in an England shirt, and it's a testament to the group. We've stayed together, we've hung tough. It's been tricky at times, but we had some new guys here as well for this trip. We've brought great energy to the team, and having guys like Freddie Flintoff around us gives a lift to everyone. So to come back from 2-0 down, if we could have won today, would have been a fantastic turnaround. But we showed a lot of strength of character.
And overall, as a captain, you think you're going to come out into 2024 a better captain, a better captain, if you like, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's important. Anytime, you're always learning, I think. I still feel like my best batting is ahead of me in my career, and I feel like I can just get better and better as a captain. So lots to look forward to.
But I guess the way you batted in the last couple of games in particular must fill you with a bit of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. I've batted like that for a long time in T20 cricket, so it's nice to remind myself I'm still a good player, but I always want to get better. I want to be a better player, so that's what I'll be looking to do in 2024.
Okay, so getting better in 2024. That was Sam Ella with Jos Butler. Big thanks to Sam, who's been out there for talkSPORT for the last 3.5 weeks. It sounds like an easy gig, but he's certainly put in the yards. We're going to wrap up, gents, very briefly. Your overriding thoughts from the series, Mash?
West Indies went into this T20 series needing to continue the momentum. And I guess when you have a series victory like this, it's further evidence that the journey that they're on is the right journey, and it means more people buy into what is going on. But let's see. Up next is Australia in a T20 series away. Let's see what goes on there.
We haven't got rights to that one. I'm quite pleased about that, actually. Harmy, and your thoughts from a series? England lost both series.
Yeah, England
they
lost
haven't
both.
had a good 2023. They haven't won a great deal. George DeBell's just tweeted. I think the only thing they've won this year is a test match against Ireland and an ODI series against the same nation. But briefly, your thoughts?
Yeah, a lot of questions went into this series. I think we've had a lot of answers. Some positive, some negative. I think Matthew Mott, Jos Butler and Rob Key know their 15 going to the Caribbean and America. And I think that, for me, is positive because the roles that needed filling, I think, got filled.
Brilliant stuff. Big thanks to Alex Tudor, Steve Harmison and Machel St Patrick Hewitt and Sam Ellard for all the work in front of the mic, and of course Scott Taylor behind it. That's it for talkSPORT 2's coverage of the West Indies series against England. It didn't go England's way in the ODIs or the T20s, but we hope you enjoyed our coverage. Coming up here on talkSPORT 2, it's the best of Following On.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.